Hi, everybody. This is Michael Gibbs, and I'm the founder and CEO of Go Cloud Careers. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. You saw my Chief Operating Officer, Chris, operating behind the scenes right over there, and we're thrilled to have him here. Today, we're here to help you build your best cloud computing career. Maybe you have a career goal of becoming a cloud architect and getting that first cloud architect job. Maybe you have a career goal of becoming a solution architect and getting that first solution architect job, or getting your first cloud engineer job. I don't really care. I want to help you get to your goals. See, my name is Michael Gibbs, and in addition to being the founder of Go Cloud Careers and Go Cloud Architects, a division of Go Cloud Careers, I've been in this tech industry now for over 25 years. And not only have been an architect for almost 25 years, I've spent about 2 decades helping others get their first tech job or get promoted in tech, and I want to help you too. And in 20 years of career coaching, tech career coaching, I've learned a lot of lessons. I've learned how to get people from point A to point B, from their start to their goal destination, so much faster by teaching them the exact things they need to know for the career, helping the person build that perfect career plan. Because, if you don't know the destination, if you know the destination and you know your starting point and you have the perfect map, it's going to take you a lot less time to get there. It sure takes a lot less time, to go from New York to, say, San Francisco on an airplane on a direct flight than it would to go from New York to London to Dubai, back to Paris, to Athens, Greece, where my family's from, to, say, Tel Aviv, to, they say, Sao Paulo, only to go back to San Jose or San Francisco or LA or wherever you wanted to go. That's the difference. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So that's why we're here. So please ask us any cloud computing career questions and answers you have, so we can help you build your cloud computing career and get cloud hired or cloud promoted as fast as possible. So some things that we're going to do to help you in your career completely free. Tomorrow we have our How to Get Your First Cloud Architect Job webinar, and it's going to be a good time. I love doing these. People come from all over the world to join us on these webinars. And I will tell you how to leverage your life experience to show the hiring managers they need you. I will tell you what hiring managers dream about in the perfect employee, so you know how to get hired even when you lack experience. I will tell you what needs to be on your resume. I will tell you what you need to learn for either a cloud architect job or a cloud engineer job. I will tell you to skip those HR people to get your resume directly held in the hiring managers. And guess what? It'll be on Zoom, so you can ask me questions for up to an hour. And I'll be happy to do it, and it's all completely free. So join us tomorrow. Now, next week, and I don't know if we're going to have a sign-up list or not, Chris. That's up to you. But we do have a sign-up list. Great. We're going to have a big cloud engineer career webinar. How do you get your first cloud engineer job? The things that you need to master your cloud engineer career. So please sign up for the cloud engineer webinar. It's going to be a big one, fun one. We're going to do it in lots of places. So join us next week if you want to become a cloud engineer and get your first cloud engineer job. Now, next Friday, more things to help you get cloud hired, everybody. I'm going to do a cloud architect interview demonstration. We will be inviting people from all over the world, and I will interview them for solution architect jobs and cloud architect jobs and cloud engineer jobs to see what they're interested in. And then we'll tell them if they're ready. So free mock interview live. Normally charge about $500 an hour to interview somebody, and here you go. It's going to be online completely for free. So join us. It's completely free. Now, we have so much more content we're going to be publishing on LinkedIn. Our team is going to be producing so much more, a large number more, YouTube videos, a lot more blogs and articles. So please follow us on LinkedIn and me, as well as our company, because we've got so many free things coming your way to help you get your first cloud architect job, first solution architect job, first cloud engineer job, or any desire that you actually desire. And guess what? We do have in September a LinkedIn and resume workshop. My average student's biggest problem is dealing with the number of interview requests they get from recruiters and hiring managers. It's a huge problem for my students, because basically we tune their resumes to make them so great that their biggest problem is saying, I'm not ready yet, can we talk in 6 months? And what we need to do is teach our students to just say, you're not looking now, et cetera, but you might be soon. And our students get hammered. As you could see by Delroy Batt, who got his first cloud security architect job with us with no experience whatsoever. He didn't even apply for the cloud security architect job, and he got 3 offers. The world came to him, so that's why we're doing this resume workshop. So let's get you all cloud hired, everybody. If you have questions, don't be shy. I don't bite. I'm the easiest going, most friendly character out there. I'm kind of like a teddy bear. So ask your questions. And Mr. Me, the teddy bear will be soft and gentle and answer all your questions. So we can get you all cloud hired. Give me a hashtag cloud hired, everybody, and tell me where you're at. And please ask some questions so we can help you get to your goals. I made 2 more YouTube videos even this morning. So we've got so much content coming. So please subscribe and hit the bell because you don't want to lose what we're going to be coming out with. So let's see. Does anybody have any questions in there so far, Chris? If not, I'll discuss leadership things until we get them. But definitely make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. Eddie Patrick, good morning. I know you're over there in Bamenda, Cameroon. It's so good to see you. Chow, welcome this morning. Chow's fantastic as well. Super happy to see you. Poonam, hi, good morning or afternoon. It's good to see you. Scott, hello, everyone. Yes. Hello, everyone. You are from India. I figure with the name Patel you were, but having said that, we didn't know where you were living. So fantastic, and thanks for joining us. Todd, good morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you're from. Hello, everyone. Singer, wow, hi from London. I haven't been there in a little while. I used to go almost every week. Miss it, actually. What is the major difference between a solution architect job and a cloud architect job? Great question. In practice, they're almost the same, but in reality, one's much more critical. And here's the difference. Both of these jobs are architect jobs. So whether you're a cloud architect or whether you're a solution architect, you're going to start with the customer. Ideally, the executives, and ask the customer about their business goals, their business pain points, their business challenges. Now, in either case, we're going to do this is going to be common. From there, we're going to go bring in a team of engineers to baseline the organization's technology system. Next, for both cloud architects and solution architects, we're going to come up with a diagnosis or an assessment. We're going to determine the optimal end state, and then we're going to build the plan. Now, a solution architect, like an AWS solution architect, is basically going to build the solution with as many AWS features as they can and deal with whatever third-party application developers they can. A cloud architect is going to say, look, we're not crazy enough to stick our eggs all in a single basket. We know a single cloud is a single point of failure, and customers are demanding multi-cloud anyway. 87% of customers are now multi-cloud, and the rest want to be. So the cloud architect will do the same job and say, we'd like to house some of your stuff on AWS, some of your stuff on Azure, maybe give you a private cloud in your data center, and that way we can leverage the investments you placed in your data center, as well as put you in AWS. It's a great cloud, and back it up or have another cloud in Azure, and that way if AWS has an outage or Azure has an outage, you don't have a problem. Or at the same time, the cloud architect will say, if you're in Azure and they raise your rates 200%, you can just say, buy Azure, you're earning AWS, and then you can find another cloud as your backup. So the cloud architect is going to be with multiple clouds. So in terms of competency, the cloud architect needs to critically know the underlying technology, whereas the solution architect still does. But the cloud architect is going to build more open standards. So pretty much the same job. The key is it's single cloud solution architect, multi-cloud cloud architect. Now that's not saying solution architects won't be working with multi-clouds, but they won't be designing the multi-cloud. They're just going to be dealing with the multi-cloud. Kind of like when I was at Cisco as a solution architect, I sold Cisco stuff. When I was an enterprise architect, which is much more like a cloud architect, it was like, okay, here's our Cisco stuff. Here's this vendor stuff. Here's this vendor stuff. Here's this vendor stuff. And I kind of was the person that glue it all together. Solution architect, one company. Cloud architect, multiple companies. Solution architect, pay here. Cloud architect, pay here. So that's the major difference. And it's a really, really great question. Chris Johnson, yes, so many exciting things that are happening this month. So please follow us on LinkedIn. Please subscribe and hit the bell because you don't want to miss any of the cool stuff we have coming to help build your career. Anthony Gonzalez, good morning. Cloud hired, absolutely. Nafuli Singer, I'm a complete beginner. Where do you start? Well, the first question I'm going to have for you, Singer, is what would you like to do? Because The cloud has thousands of different kinds of jobs, and the way you train a pilot is different than the way you train a nurse, which is different than the way you train a physician, which is different than the way you train a lawyer. So, could you tell me what your end career goal is? What is the one you want? Do you want to be a systems designer like me, where you design, present, and sell, which is an architect job? Do you want to be a cloud engineer, which is the person that builds the solutions that I design? Do you want to be anything? Because there's so many different careers. So if you tell me exactly what your goal is, I would love to get you there, but I need to know the actual end state. Otherwise, it's like my favorite question is, in response is sort of like someone says, if you went to the airplane and said, I don't know, which plane should I get on? And I'd say, I don't know. Do you want to go to Dubai? Do you want to go to Cape Town? Do you want to go to Lagos? Do you want to go to Austin? Do you want to go to Sydney? Do you want to go to Hong Kong? Do you want to Taiwan? So please tell me your goal. And I love to help you. Cloud hired. Yes, Chris. Pierre, cloud hired. And Effie, cloud hired. Do cloud architects do any troubleshooting? Not normally. I know they build, but if the company's 3-tier architecture doesn't work, there's the engineer. Okay, Anthony, here's what happens. I'm a cloud architect, and this is a great question. I go to the customer site, I ask some questions, I design something, present it, and sell it. Now, Anthony, let's say I do this for Bank of Cindy the Cat. So I designed the Bank of the Cindy the Cat's network. Now, as soon as I design the Bank of the Cindy the Cat's enterprise network cloud, it doesn't matter, whatever it is. Then, I'm going to present it to him, sell it to him. And when the customer says yes, it gets handed to a build team. And the build team is engineers that build it. These are the hands-on technical people. Now, once it's done, they deliver to the customer. When it doesn't work, the company calls tech support. There's a tier 1, there's a tier 2, there's a tier 3, there's often a tier 4. Tier 1 is like, hey, is it plugged in? Is the paper in the printer? Tier 2, you're starting to get somebody that actually understands some of this. Tier 3, you're getting somebody that's relatively competent. Tier 4, they're usually very competent. Tier 5 is what they may do is they may go to the cloud engineering team that built it. On rare occasions, the cloud architect will get involved. And our involvement as a role, Anthony, is generally speaking this. When there's a problem, and there's an account manager that has the relationship with the client, they go to the client to smooth things over. You, the architect, may also go to the client. Now, you're going to be coordinating. You may coordinate the efforts from the real people that are doing the troubleshooting. You're going to be taking out your client to lunch, to dinner, to drinks. You may be buying dinner and drinks for the people that are coming in to do the troubleshooting. So, Anthony, we don't touch the tech. I don't know how to describe this anyway. We generally don't touch the tech. Now, in my 25 years of architecture, have I ever done any troubleshooting? Yes. In the beginning, I was a technical architect. And a technical architect isn't an architect at all. It's an engineer, in which they don't know what to pay you, so they call you an architect. And there I did do some technical troubleshooting. But once I got to these elite engineering architecture roles, I didn't even make my own drawings anymore. I mean, to the point, in our young, we used to draw drawings in Visio. Now let's draw IO or Lucidchart that people typically use. And Anthony, when you get to the elite architecture levels, you get to this world where basically I take something with a napkin, I sketch it on a napkin, a piece of paper. I used to scan it. Now I take a picture with my phone, and I would send it over to the graphics department that would actually do a beautiful diagram in InDesign. So now we architects are very far away from the tech, except for the technical architects, which are really engineers. It's just a different title. Now we're involved in relationship management. I worked with a customer that had an outage. I think I spent 20 grand that week on really good scotch and steaks and lobsters and wine and, bringing in coordinating people. It's company money. But the point is that was necessary to maintain a relationship. That's what my function was. They're not going to take your extremely expensive people and turn them into troubleshooting people. There's much cheaper people for that are much more competent and capable at it. It's somebody else's job. But it's a great question there, Anthony. Absolutely, cloud hired. Belusa, cloud hired, fantastic. Eddie Patrick, cloud hired. Mr. Gee, cloud hired. It's good to see you today. Brian Mott, cloud hired. In Chicago, fantastic. Haven't been there in a little while. Kevin, hello everyone. It's good to see you, Kelvin. VS. Hi, in your opinion, which are the best cloud jobs due to overemployment? Least hours of actual work per day for the highest amount. So VS, I'm going to tell you this. If somebody's actually looking to have a job that's got the least amount of work, I got to tell you, I recommend working at a fast food restaurant such as McDonald's or Burger King, something where you've got guaranteed hours, where you can clock in, and when you go home, there's nothing to think about. There is no good job in this world, VS, where at the end of the day, when you go home, you can forget about things. If you're an architect, here's the thing: customers are going to have demands of you, and they may want to call you with a question. Now, if you're an engineer, it's different. Now, I will tell you, VS, that architects generally work half the hours for double the pay as than a cloud engineer would. And here's the reason. Cloud architect goes to the customer site. They ask about the business goals, the business pain points, the business challenges. They craft a design. They sell it back. And because the cloud architect is part of the sales team that's bringing money into the business, or the solution architect, the same thing, the solution architects and cloud architects get a fair amount of money in the form of bonuses and commissions based upon performance. And people that bring money into the company earn the most money. You'll find account managers earning more than cloud architects. I remember there was one company many years ago, it was a storage company, and they could only give their sales reps $100,000 per paycheck. And everybody used to get monthly commissions. And the sales reps used to talk to each other and say, how many checks did you get this month? I got 3, you got 2. And that was because the sales rep was earning $300,000 commission that month. Now, that's not really commonplace today, although I still know account managers and sales reps earning $1 million a year selling cloud stuff and security stuff. So the closer you get to sales, the more money you earn. And the cloud architect or the solution architect is generally a sales professional that's pre-sales, and that's why they earn the most. Who earns the least? The people that are the most technical. That's right, you heard me say it, and it's sad. The people that take all the architectural designs that people like me design and build it get paid the least. So on the least paid scale, which is the tech people, which ones? If you're looking for low pay and hard work, you become a sysops professional. Because sysadmins and cloud admins are the hardest working, lowest paid people in the continuum. That's actually, believe it or not, help desk works really hard too. That's why I never recommend those positions unless somebody desires them early in their career. Now, the cloud engineers are going to work pretty darn hard, because what's going to happen with the cloud engineers is they have to build everything behind the scenes. And if the economy gets tight, and right now we're actually in a recession, 2 quarters of negative GDP growth is the textbook definition of a recession. In a recession, organizations may still need to hire sales reps. And even being in a recession, I think 4 of our students got hired this week. And many of them got their first cloud architect job or solution architect job without any experience in the industry at all. And they still got it because they're experts at what they do, and they've got the right attitude, energy, and theory, experience, communication, enthusiasm, communication skills. So that's what it was for them to get hired. But, if you're looking for the best paying positions, it's the cloud architect roles, the enterprise architect roles, and even the architect roles. You can play them in both places. The architects that get certified, they may earn $100,000 a year, those with 10 certifications, if they're lucky enough to get hired. Whereas you take a good enterprise architect, meaning a cloud architect with good business acumen, leadership skills, emotional intelligence skills, executive presence, and it's not uncommon for them to earn $300,000 to $500,000 a year. So the key is there's no such thing as overemployment. We get paid based upon the impact we make on our customers, our employers. Don't make an impact on our customers and we're not getting paid anything. Make a big impact on our customers, we're getting paid more. But the people that bring in the money, there was this American movie, it was called Jerry Maguire, and the guy was a sports agent and he had a cool football player, and he used to say, show me the money, show me the money, show me the money. And it became a saying. It was a really good movie if you haven't seen it. It was a football movie. I don't understand football, but it was a great movie with Tom Cruise and Cuba Gooding Jr. But it was there. But that's the point. The people that bring in the money, enterprise architects, the solution architects, they earn the most. And the people that are best at bringing in the money, who have the best business skills, leadership skills, executive presence skills, guess what? They earn the most. Kind of keep that in the back of your mind. And even for engineers, the engineers with business acumen, leadership skills, communication skills, executive presence, emotional intelligence, they can earn $100,000 more than the ones that are focused on being certified. So it's all about, loving what you do. But you have to love what you do, because no matter what, you can't pick a job on pay, because you'll be miserable. And if you're miserable about it, you're going to have a bad attitude. If you have a bad attitude, you're not rising to the top. So just love what you do. Chris, you can bring in the next one. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. Nathalie Singer, thank you so much for your awesome help. You were referring to the cloud architect career beginner. You're a complete beginner. Where do you start? So, Singer, I'm going to give you the best advice I have, which is to take our Cloud Architect Career Development Program. And here's the reason why. To get the real education to do this on your own would cost you about $50,000. And we put a course together that literally cost a single day's pay for the average architect. And we've got students getting hired from every country in the world. And for example, just this week, I had Jennifer. She was one of my students. She's an amazing mental health tech. She's now a cloud architect first inside of 6 months of my program, and she's never worked in tech. I had another woman this week, and she was a mother for the last 10 years and was working as a customer service rep, and she just got a great cloud architect job. There's another one of my students who got his first cloud engineer job this week. And I had another, he didn't even tell us, we found out on LinkedIn, which is hilarious. That happens sometimes, our students do so well. And we found out one of my students had gotten an enterprise architect job this week. And I think there's another one, Chris, that I'm actually missing. And many of them started out as beginners. Now, the key is, if you're a beginner, is you must know the job. So I'm going to tell you everything that you need to learn. You need to know networking and data center technology and business things. I'm going to start with the tech piece, but I'm going to tell you next. And here's the thing. It's the non-tech skills that get you hired. That's right, the non-tech skills. But you need to know the tech too. And what is the tech? The cloud architect is a system designer. We are not a cloud admin. We don't touch the technology. We design, present, and sell the technology. So the technology that you need to understand is the network and the data center, which is actually the same tech as the cloud. If you step back and you don't pay attention to the silly nonsense that's taught in cloud architect certifications, which is the name of the service and how to configure that service, let's really talk about what you need to know. You need to know how to take the stuff out of the network and data center, because that's what we do, and migrate it to the cloud, which is nothing more than a network and a data center that somebody else runs to. So we have to go from a network and a data center to a network and a data center. That's what the cloud is. Now, in cloud certs, they teach you how to configure stuff without telling you what it is. You can't design what you don't understand. So in our program, you'll learn everything. But if you're on your own, here's what you need to learn. You need to learn from the networking side, BGP, and a couple hundred pages of reading, you'll figure it out. You need to understand IP addressing, subnetting, or supernetting. Again, good reading here. It's out there, but that's critical, route aggregation, etc. You need to understand WAN technologies and when to use them and how do they work, such as IPsec tunnels, SSL-based tunnels, private lines, Ethernet over MPLS, software-defined networking, and SASE. These are the technical side. Moving up the technical stack, excuse me, a little itchy here. We need a little bit of switching, which means VLANs, VLAN tagging, VLAN trunking, spanning tree, rapid spanning tree, etc. You need to have a good understanding of NAT and not like the simple NAT that's taught in the AWS Advanced Networking or the Certified Solution Architect Professional. That's too basic. You need to understand NAT. When the one NAT, when the many NAT, static NAT, dynamic NAT, PAT, for example. Coming up the list off of that, we should know DNS, DHCP, ARP, proxy ARP. It would be a good idea to understand some interior gateway protocols such as OSPF. Now on the cloud/network and data center side, you need to have a good understanding of servers and server virtualization and containers and container orchestration, real knowledge of storage area networks such as block storage and object storage, knowledge of file sharing protocols such as server message block and NFS. You need to have a good knowledge of understanding of databases, when to use a NoSQL database versus a relational database, how to scale the relational databases, etc. Beyond that, you need to have good knowledge of firewalls. And I don't mean the stuff they talk about in certification. I mean next generation firewalls like they come from Palo Alto, Cisco, FireNet, checkpointing, etc. Intrusion detection, intrusion prevention systems, IDS, IPS systems, and then business applications such as CRM applications and ERP applications, unified communications. How do those applications impact business? Now, next, this is a job that you are an executive, so you must either through us, because it's covered in our program, or else buy the training. And I got to tell you, this training gets expensive if you don't take it with us. And that's why I came out of retirement to build this program, because most people can't afford the $50,000 or so of this training piece that you need. It's covered in mine. This training piece is how to deliver an executive presentation, how to write for executives, how to have the business acumen to do a return on investment capital model. We teach our team how to read a balance sheet and a financial statement, etc., because those are the kind of things that are kind of critical. We teach CXO relevancy. What do you say to the CEO versus CFO versus CTO, for example? We teach how to build a resume, the right kind of resume that makes well to come to you. We teach how to interview. We even teach how to negotiate a higher salary. We teach the executive presence that's necessary and everything that's there. So those are the things that you need to learn. That's your roadmap. Now we've got a Cloud Architect career development program that does that live. We've got another one where it's basic. You can just watch the recordings of the classes, but that's what you need to learn. You can learn that with us, or you can get an MBA, plus learn those technical things that I described to you, but it's not covered in certification. I don't want you getting cloud hired. So that's what you need to learn. All of that, you master that. And remember, design, present, and sell. We don't code, so there's no reason to learn Python. We don't configure, so don't spend a ton of time at the management console, just a little bit to be familiar with it. We don't automate, so we don't use DevOps tools. We don't do maintenance, which is SysOps, so don't get any certifications in those things because they're all irrelevant. We design, present, and sell, and those are the skills to be a great cloud architect or solution architect. And that's why my students are getting hired every day with those skills, because that's what the customers need. And actually, about this week, we had a customer that a student that got a really great architect job, actually had multiple cloud architect job offers. And some were enterprise architects. And they want to speak to us because they told them they loved them so much. They're like, we finally got somebody that knows what it means to be an architect. We keep getting in people that want to tell us about their coding and configuring and every non-architect thing in the world. We need someone that knows how to design, present, and sell. So that's what companies are looking for. Thank you for the question. And I'd love to answer more if you desire. Kelvin, I'm a beginner in question. How can I get experience in cloud and which products can I do? Kelvin, it depends on the career that you desire. Architect experience that would be valid is completely opposite than engineering experience that's valid. So Kelvin, if you could actually tell me the job you want, I can tell you the kind of experience that would be valid. But otherwise, I mean, it's kind of like an airplane pilot. Airplane pilot experience is this. Flight attendant experience is this. Doctor experience is this. Nurse experience is this. So if you tell me your career, then I can actually tell you exactly what kind of experience you should get. Because the wrong experience doesn't help you. So, Chris, while we wait for Kelvin to come back and tell us what his goal is, because we always need the goal to get to the destination. Let's go to the so Singer. Well, thank you so much. You're more than welcome. That's why I want you to have the roadmap, because otherwise, I don't want to see you spend a year getting your relevant certifications, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I want you to get the right ones. Kelvin, cloud engineering. Okay, so Kelvin, what does a cloud engineer do? A cloud engineer builds the stuff that we cloud architects design. So to build things, what kind of experience should you do? And I'll tell you the kind of stuff we have our cloud engineers do, because our cloud engineers are the best and all of our students are the best. But, what should you do? Well, as a cloud engineer, you should be doing a bunch of hands-on labs on at least two clouds. AWS and Azure would be my preference. Really learn how this stuff works. I would also recommend, so in addition to building things, I would recommend that you spend some serious time with Linux. Serious time with Linux. Set up Linux websites, set up Linux file servers, administer Linux, start learning where all these files are in the file system, etc host, all your where everything is. I'd get a lot of hands-on experience with Linux, a lot of it. Then I would get extreme hands-on experience with trying to write a bash script, because you're going to be doing this. Then I would learn some good Python skills, because you're going to be automating and coding a lot as a cloud engineer. And then when you're done that, I'd also focus on, what's the word I'm looking for? Some Terraform, infrastructure as code. There's no point in using CloudFormation templates. And I know those certification people, I want to be like, oh, I got this great paper on a CloudFormation template, but why would anybody use it? It's AWS proprietary, and we're going to be using multi-clouds for everything. So there's no point in wasting your time on that. So for the cloud engineer, it's build, 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 build. And what are we dealing with? We're dealing with Linux, Python, Terraform, Bash shell scripting. I'd also get some hands-on experience with Active Directory. Now, Kelvin, all my students, whether they're cloud engineers and architects, they all build their own cloud from scratch. Because I feel that in order to be able to design something, you need to understand it. And, when somebody says, I clicked a couple of EC2 instances in S3 buckets, I say, so? I taught an 8-year-old to do that in 5 minutes. And I don't even touch the tech, I'm an architect, but it was still 5 minutes for me to do it. Now, when my students say, I built a cloud, and all my students, Kelvin, build a cloud, that's something good. Our students build the cloud, they connect their cloud to Active Directory and Federated, and then they connect the cloud they build to other clouds. That's valid experience. So build some stuff. Build some Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP systems. Build some file servers. Build a VPN concentrator. Play with some firewall stuff. These are the kind of projects that you can do. Deep, deep projects. Not the kind the certification providers are telling you to do. I don't know what that is. But if a cloud engineer builds the stuff that a cloud architect plays, make sure you know how to build it and automate it and really make it work. Really make it work. Hi, Mike. What are the required training and certifications for a career in defensive security engineering? Well, it's more about training than certifications for defensive security engineering. Defensive security engineering is knowing how to secure an environment. That's it. So what goes into defensive security engineering? Well, for one thing, you must know the internet protocol. Must. Because otherwise you won't be able to even think about how to filter attacks. Now, after you know the internet protocol, you need to understand the concepts of segmentation, what we normally do in the data center, but what we can't do in the cloud because the cloud's less secure. So, maybe why are we using 1,000 VPCs in an enterprise for microsegmentation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the next thing that you would need to understand is operating systems and their vulnerabilities. You would also need to understand a good degree of identity and access management capabilities, such as, who you are, what you can do, and what did you do, the AAA kind of concepts. You will need to have good knowledge of firewalls and configuration of next generation firewalls, good knowledge of configuration of IDS, IPS system, good knowledge of configuration of VPN concentrators as an engineer. It would also be good for you to have some understanding of the hacking tools on Kali Linux, because you may actually want to test some of your own vulnerabilities along the way, even though you're more defensive as opposed to offensive. Get used to tools like Nmaps, good knowledge of data loss prevention strategies, good knowledge of encryption strategies, for example, good knowledge of it all. Good knowledge of the policy that goes into it, good knowledge about, what goes where. In the cloud, because we're not going to be using those cloud native services, we're going to be using something better. How do you architect or engineer around, single points of failure from virtual firewalls, et cetera. That's really what's going to be going into most of the security engineering, and that's a lot. Now, here's the thing. Certifications, there's no great certification for anything. The CISSP is still my favorite certification. It's not very deep and it doesn't teach that much, but no certification does. It really doesn't. The only certification that I believe has any substance, and I view it as my favorite intro-level certification, is the CCIE. That's a certification that'll get you a job. And I like that. I call that an intro certification because after that, you realize how much you don't know and how much there still is to learn. In the beginning, we think we know everything. I did my CCNA. Oh, I know networking. And I passed my CCNP and I went, well, this networking thing's kind of big. I passed my CCIE and I went, whoa, there's so much to learn. And that's the key. But for this position, it's really about locking systems down, knowing the attack vectors, knowing how the attacks are launched and knowing how to solve them, determining ways to mitigate them, determining ways to deal with the logging and visualize what's going on in real time. Incident response procedures, all of it. So deep, hands-on firewall, IDS, VPN, concentrator stuff. Good stuff, all good stuff. But it's a career of knowledge again, not certification. Good question, though, Tom. Poonam Patel, if you need a sample resume, you can attend our resume workshop, or you can become a student in our Cloud Architect Career Development Program. There's something very special that goes into building a proper website. And it's not just that anybody can help you out. The people that can help you are the people that have either hired cloud architects or worked as cloud architects for a couple of decades and advised them. Otherwise, you're going to make a resume and it's not going to get the response. So if you want an expert resume, take our LinkedIn resume and workshop. Now, here's the thing. After that, you still have to have the competency. You still have to be able to do the job. Just having the resume is not going to help anybody because it'll get you 10 interviews. And here's the thing. If we make you the perfect resume without the right skills, you'll get interviewed. But the problem is if you go in an interview and don't get hired, you burn the bridge with that employer and they won't be interested in hiring you again. So the first thing you need to do is make sure you've got the right skills. And then after you have the right skills, then you need resume guidance. That's why in our program, the first thing is not resume guidance. The first thing is building the plan, training the person, and 5 months into the plan, they get the resume guidance. Because we need to know that before they do the resume, they're hireable. Because we don't want them going on 10 interviews. It's damaging psychologically. It burns bridges and it damages the person's brand. And we need to know that everybody we train gets hired. But if you're interested in it, you can join us for the LinkedIn and resume workshop. It's a very inexpensive day. And after this, you'll be hammered by people trying to hire you. So then it's all about making sure you've got the perfect skills to get hired. And I love that. Now, let's talk about interviews. Nobody should ever need to go more than 3 interviews to get hired. Never. If someone's not hired by the 3rd interview or 3 companies, there's something wrong. Either interview techniques, communication skills, attitude, or competency. Personally, I've never been in an interview for which I didn't get a job, but you get a qualified person within 3 interviews, they should be hired. So there's that. And it's also in knowing what to put on your resume versus not what to put on your resume. And it's also related to knowing how to take your past experience and painting it into something that's relevant. So it's not something where it's like, here, help me out. Because if you get the wrong guidance, which in most cases you will, it's going to be a challenge. So either get someone that is a good cloud career resume professional, and they're going to charge you a good $400 or $500 to do your resume. Or you can take our LinkedIn resume workshop, which is $99, and do everything we can to get you hired. But kind of keep that in the back of your mind. You need a good resume. When you don't have experience, your resume is what brings in people to you. Your resume is the bait. It's an advertisement. Look, I've asked advertisers how to make my advertisements better, just so I can know how to make better resumes, because they've collaborated with that, because the resume is just an advertisement. So if you're going to make an advertisement and work at it, make sure it's a good one. Otherwise, don't make a bad advertisement. There's a U.S. company, General Motors. They tried to promote a car. They called it the Chevy Nova. They made that as their advertisement. They did a huge marketing campaign. And they tried to sell the Chevy Nova in South America. What Chevy didn't think about is Nova means no go. So they had a beautiful marketing campaign around something that basically told all of South America not to buy the car. So that's what we're doing in our resume workshop. You don't want anybody to help you out. You want the right people to help you out. It's kind of like saying, I'm going to go to the doctor. Hey, or not even saying I need to go to the doctor. I want medical advice. Can anybody help me? Yeah, sure. You might have the mechanic helping you, the airplane pilot helping you, or the doctor. You don't know what you're going to get. You need the doctor helping you. Chris, if you want to go to the next question. James T. Good morning, Mike. In your IT role, I rely heavily on Linux and Python. Do these skills translate well into cloud architecture? Should your Bruto enterprise? So, James T., I want to make this very clear. A cloud architect designs, presents, and sells. We don't touch the technology, we don't code, and we don't configure. So, if you know the Linux architecture, which is what you need to know as an architect, like a cloud architect or solution architect. If you understand the Linux kernel and you understand where the drivers are, etc., that's what you need to know about Linux. We don't touch the technology. Coding is a completely irrelevant skill for the architect. Linux administration is another completely irrelevant skill for the cloud architect. Now, I like my students that are become cloud architects to have Linux familiarity. So sure, I used to tell people Linux therapy, and what I meant by Linux therapy is take your notebook, erase Windows, run a bunch on it, and do it for a month or two, and then you'll have some there. Now, James, I do like to have my students do some hands-on Linux things to say they've done it. Building Linux clouds, for example, like OpenStack clouds, etc. But here's the key. No, these skills do not translate well. The skills that translate well to the architect are networking and data center skills. So BGP, OSPF, IP addressing, subnetting, supernetting, switching, spanning tree, rapid spanning tree, VLAN tagging, VLAN trunking, knowledge of how to design the stuff, not how to do the stuff, knowledge on how to design it. NAT, one-to-one NAT, one-to-many NAT, static NAT, dynamic NAT, port address translation or PAT, knowledge of ARP, proxy ARP, DNS, DHCP, how to design and improve these things. Server virtualization, containers and container orchestration, block storage, object storage, file storage. Next generation firewalls, how to architect around them, VPN concentrators, etc., authentication system. We need to design the stuff. So it's for us, it's how it's worked, but not the tech that we touch. So no, these skills do not translate well. The only skills that translate well are architecture skills, which are architect. Now, James T., don't worry. You can still transition. And knowing about Linux is still very helpful. And the reason it's very helpful is it's the most common operating system in the cloud. So there's that. But these are engineering skills. So I want you to think about this from a reality perspective, James. If I need to go interview the CEO of a $500 billion company, is knowing Python valid? The answer is no. If I need to be able to talk to the CEO about their business challenges, and I want to tell them, hey, I wrote a bash script, he or she, that CEO, is going to escort me out of the room, and they're going to say, you don't understand what I need. Now, when you present at a conference, which you'll be doing as an architect, you're not going to be coding Python. When you design an architecture document, respond to an RFI, request for information, RFP, request for proposal, RFQ, request for quote, and you're not going to be doing it in Python or Linux there. When you present at an industry conference, you're not going to be talking about Linux or Python skills. When you go back after speaking to the customer and you realize you've got complicated security, complicated compute, complicated IAM, complicated databases, you need to go back to your organization and build a team of really smart people to help you design it and put it together. Again, you're not coding and configuring. Then we're going to be writing up a design, presenting this design back to the customer, selling it back to the customer. And once we're done, James, bye, customer. Call me back the next time you're looking for innovation. And a team of cloud engineers that will rely heavily on Python and Linux will put it together, along with some DevOps people. So now you can see the difference. These are all cloud engineering skills. Now to go from this to an architect, we actually have to tune all the way that stuff looks on your resume and show the relevance, because there is relevance that comes out of Linux. But it's not just putting down Linux things, that's not going to help you. In fact, in many cases, it'll hurt you. Because when you're looking for an architect, you're looking for an executive that knows the technology, knows how to work with it, but mostly executive. When you're dealing with too much coding, you start thinking you're getting a techie. And the archetype of the architect is an executive. The archetype of the engineer is a techie. And the reason they hire architects, these organizations, is they don't want to put the engineers in front of the C-level executives with the billions of dollars to spend, because they speak a different language. So take the lessons from this, which are highly valuable, learn the new lessons, and learn how to position your background, and you'll be good to go. And then you'll be getting hired, James. But no, there's no touching the technology as architects. We design, present, and sell. Feel free to ask your questions in the chat box. We want to help you. Mr. Businessman, good morning. You were in the office last week and spoke with an engineer who was trying to find someone to train on Linux. I told her all of the things I've done, and she said, you're way above what? I'm trying to hire for. I just thought about you, Mike, and laughed. Yeah, that's the thing, Mr. Businessman. It's about being an expert at your job, and not anybody else's. So yes, that's exactly the thing. I think it was Daniel or was it Delaware? It was one of them that said when he went on an interview, and they both got hired, and we've gotten so many people hired recently, that they say, look, what I'm really looking for is not a techie. I want a sales guy in a lab coat that can talk the tech and understands the tech, but can really help us sell, because that's really the main goal, and make the customers happy. So totally agree with you, Mr. Businessman. Gee, having to study for a certification and keeping in the back of your mind that the certification would barely be used for the actual job is so frustrating. Gee, it's incredibly frustrating. I mean, once you actually realize how almost worthless these certifications are in today's world, it's highly frustrating. I remember having a conversation with a VP that I know over at NVIDIA, a really great guy, and he was CCIE certified, and he says, Mike, I don't think I'm going to waste my time doing it anymore. And I said, the written test only takes an hour or two. And he says, yeah, but in the couple of weeks that I'm going to spend preparing for this written test, those couple of weeks I could be focusing on my leadership skills, and which is going to get me further in life. And I said to my buddy, I said, you're right. It's not the CCIE. So he went and became a vice president of NVIDIA, really great guy, really great leader, exceptional in every way. So the key is you got to focus on what's going to matter most for your career. But why do we do the certifications in the first place? Only one reason: it can help you get an interview. That's it. Help you get an interview. And having the ability to come after you for an interview is very valid. So consider it to be like the degree you got in college. Probably not using that for anything either. But, it looks good. Helps you get an interview. So, looks good. So, it's kind of like the window dressing. The house looks better with the windows. Now, when you buy the house, it doesn't come with drapes if you get new construction. You buy it because you want the house. You buy the drapes, or your wife tells you what kind of drapes you have to buy. At least mine does. She says, look, we need these. I'm like, how about these? No, there, we need these. I'm like, okay, that's what we're buying. So, there's that. But yes, it's totally frustrating. And I wish I learned this lesson a long time in my career, because I got a bunch of certifications in the beginning, and ultimately I had to remove them. And what's worse, is when you have the wrong certifications on your resume, people won't even come after you for the good jobs. And when you get on an interview, they'll interview on the minutia coming out of certifications, and then they won't hire you. And then too many certifications in the wrong career actually makes you worth less, because it makes you look less competent in your job versus somebody else's. So I still like certifications, but 1 to 2, maybe 3, laser focused to build the illusion of you being good, only so you can walk in the interview and prove that you're good. I like to call certifications the illusion of competency, meaning it's fake. It's like, putting icing on the cake. You could put icing on a horrible cake and it's still horrible. Or you could put icing out of the jar. I don't think people eat that. They put it on a cake, and if the cake's good, the icing makes it better. But people don't buy the cake just for the icing. I don't really eat cake, but that's what cake eating people tell me to do, how they eat it. But I totally agree with you, Jay. It's very frustrating. Of course, we can bring in the next one. Bernard. Hi, Mike. How do you feel about the book Rocking the System Design Interview? Would that be a good pickup for self-study, aspiring cloud engineer? Well, Bernard, a couple things. One is, I don't think it's going to help you at all, because engineers basically build and architects actually design. Also, I don't think of anything that's related to teaching you the interview as teaching you anything. A good interviewer like me is going to see if you understand how to design from a real thing, not if you took a book on interview. So I don't see that as very helpful. Bernard, the big problem is not whether you took a book on design. The big problem is, do you understand the underlying tech? What is the tech? How does the tech work? How to use the tech? That's the key. If you don't understand what the tech is, how are you going to design it? But cloud engineers don't get system design interviews, because cloud engineers don't do system design. That's the work of the architects. Cloud engineers do hands-on building. So no, I don't think that would be very helpful for you. But learning the network and the data center would be hugely helpful for you. Learning how the pieces and parts go together would be helpful for you. Learning how to tune the system would be helpful for you as a cloud engineer. Learning how to automate would be very helpful for you as a cloud engineer. Learning for you how to get requirements would be very helpful as a cloud engineer. Learning to get your hands dirty would be helpful for you as a cloud engineer. Because if you know the tech, I mean truly know it, then you can build it and design it. But you can't design what you don't understand. Well, Bernard, that's the biggest problem with certification. They teach you the name of a service, how to configure it, but they don't teach you what it is or how it works, and you can't design what you don't know. So if you're an engineer, I'd focus more on engineering than architecture. And for my architects, I focus more on architecture than engineering. Still think it's good to know system design, and I teach it to my engineers as well, but I teach them a very methodical approach. What is the tech? How does the tech work? Why to use it? And then how do we put the pieces and parts together for maximum business benefit? And that enables the engineers to talk to the architects, the engineers to talk to the management, the engineers to be really good at their job, because you can't design what you don't understand. So I don't view any book that's designed for the interview as the way to build your career. You can't fake competency, you have to have it. And books on mastering an interview are good if you already mastered the skills. But if you haven't mastered the skills, there's that. Chris, we can go to the next question. Can you get a job with a cloud practitioner? You can get a job without any certification. So, for example, 2 weeks ago, many of you saw Delroy Batt. Delroy Batt has 0 cloud certifications whatsoever, and he got hired by Computer Discount Warehouse, a huge systems integrator, global big one, as a cloud security architect with 0 certifications. I had some other students that got hired with no certifications, and a bunch of people that got hired with a cloud practitioner. But the knowledge in the cloud practitioner is not enough for any job. So the key is having the skills for the job that you actually want. That's really, really what matters. Having the actual skills. And if you've got the skills and no certification, look, you can get hired. If you've got the skills in a cloud practitioner, yeah, you can be hired. But if you don't have the skills, you're not getting hired. So the key is, what job would you like? And then we can tell you. But yes, the answer is you can get a job with a cloud practitioner, because you can get a job with nothing. I used to say you get professional certifications only, and I still recommend that. But having said that, this year I've gotten a lot of people hired. Somebody that didn't graduate high school got hired, and I got a great job. People without degrees, people with associate degrees, people with no certifications are getting cloud hired, but they're competent. And they also all meet the archetype of the person. The engineer speaks like an engineer with business executive communications. The architects speak like architects. The architects walk, walk, and talk like architects. The engineers look, walk, talk, and feel like it. So there's an expression that says, if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and talks like a duck, it's probably a duck. So we make sure our students become that perfect duck, so that when they see that, they go in and interview, the interviewer is like, oh my God, I have to hire this person. I have to hire this person. And that's why they look past the experience. So the answer is yes. Yes. You can get hired with just a cloud practitioner, but it's going to be easier if you've got something more to get the interviews. But great question. Anthony Gonzalez, are companies still okay spending money on steaks and drinks during recession? Absolutely. You have to spend money to make money, Anthony. Absolutely. Now, during a recession, we'll probably travel less than before. Our management team will say, could you be a little more fiscally responsible? Which means we'll try. But at the end of the day, you got a $100 million deal, and you spend $100,000 on steaks and dinners and drinks to bring in $100 million, it's nothing. It's not even it's the cost of doing business. So no, unfortunately, we will be spending lots of money on dinner and drinks and steak and golfing during a recession anyway. There's just no way to do it. Will we try to be a little cheaper about it? The answer is yes. Will we use more video conferencing and travel less? The answer is yes. Will we stay in a 4-star hotel versus a 5-star hotel if we're good stewards of the company's money? The answer is yes, absolutely. But no, you can't act to your customers like money's hurting, or they won't be buying your stuff. So no, we're going to be doing lots of money and lots of client entertainment in any economy. Any economy. Now the back-end employees, they'll feel the brunt of it. They'll get less bonuses, etc., all kinds of good, exciting things and less perks. But in sales, you got to close the deal. You got to close the deal. If sales dies, the business is dead. So yep, still spending lots of money on entertaining clients, etc., in a recession. And for example, movies are still made in a recession. And Anthony, it's interesting. Sometimes in a recession, what you see is the following. Like in one of the last recessions, we saw luxury goods going up and up and up and up. And we saw low-cost goods struggling. But the point is things don't stop. People just spend a little less. And, kind of keep that in the back of your mind that there's still money to be spent. And there's lots of money to be made in a recession. And also positions like architects, which basically do things to improve business performance, help our customers reduce their expenses, help our customers increase their sales. Companies are still spending for that. They may spend more on automation during a recession, more on the technology that enables them to outsource to cheaper countries in the world for the technical piece. Let's face it, my architects are relatively stable. They need to visit the client. But a software engineer, does it matter where they are in the world? No, it doesn't matter at all. So in a recession, a company might buy a better unified communications platform so they can work with engineers, software developers, etc., in other countries where they cost less, where they've got people that are so excited and motivated to work, they'll work. As opposed to someone coming in and saying, I demand this, 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 and this in a recession. It's a global world now, Anthony. So yeah, they're still going to be spending, and they're going to be spending a lot, just differently. Spending more on automation, spending more on cutting costs and people out of the question, but not the people bringing in money the people that cost money, and the people that are the less, that they don't carry as much weight, the people that ask about the work-life balance are the people that get let off, the people that are first to leave at the end of the day, they're the first to get laid off, the people that complain are the first to get laid off. So companies are still spending plenty of money, and I've sold a lot of product and services during recessions. Recessions are normal, business cycles happen. Join us on Thursday for the How to Get Your First Cloud Job webinar. It's going to be a fun discussion. We'll tell you what you need to know to get hired. We'll tell you what hiring managers dream about, how to leverage your life experience, the things that you need to learn, what needs to be on your resume, how to skip HR and go straight to the hiring manager. It'll be a good experience. So please join us. Chris, we can go to the next one. Singer, I would really like enrolling in your course. Your question is in terms of getting hired. Would you not need any educational requirements like a bachelor's degree, which I currently do not have? Singer, please see some of the videos that we had. For example, we had Delroy Batt, who has an associate's degree, who just got himself an incredible cloud architect job. We had Daniel Bosu, who did not finish high school, let alone go to college, and he just got a great cloud architect job. So we've gotten lots of people hired that don't have college degrees, lots and lots and lots of them. Romanik Ivan Tamba was in college when he went to interview with AWS. AWS wanted to hire him right then and there. He didn't have a degree. And he asked him, he said to AWS, he says, look, I'd like to finish school. I spent some time here. Would you be willing to wait for me until May? He got his job offer in January or December of the previous year, and they waited 5 months for him because they liked him so much. So no, it's not a job completely related to degrees. Singer, there is such a shortage of people that can do this job. You can interview 1,000 people and not find a single person that's qualified. In fact, I did. Before I came out of retirement to start this company and help people, I interviewed 1,000 people that took those 3 common certification courses. Wanted to see if any of them knew system design. Not a single one knew architecture. Not a single one. I couldn't hire any of them. And that's why my students get hired constantly. But lots of them get hired without college degrees. A degree is helpful, but lots get hired without it. What matters is, are you competent? Can you do the job? I've got people with PhDs that can't finish my program. And I've got people that haven't graduated high school that are getting hired. The key is, can you do the job? Education is just education. What is competency, 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 energy, enthusiasm, passion, communication skills, leadership skills, executive presence, attitude, attitude, attitude. This is what gets you hired. Attitude, energy, enthusiasm, passion, competency, trustworthiness, integrity, willingness to go above and beyond. That gets you hired, not your degrees. Degrees are great, but degrees don't define you, or lack thereof. I got a bunch of degrees. I got one as a nurse practitioner. I got another in business. But the key is, nobody hired me because of my degrees. Nobody cared about my degrees at all, or lack thereof. I made a joke about it on my first interview, my first job. Mike, what's your degrees in? I'm like, I've been practicing internal medicine. And they laughed. They thought it was hilarious. And then they hired me with 0 experience, not for an engineer job, for a senior engineer job, because I was better than the rest of the team. I was told by my manager, you're better than 2/3 of my staff, and you've just told me you've never worked and you've never even studied this before. Can't imagine where you're going to be in 6 months. 6 months later, I was the lead architect on the team. But that's the key. So the key is, you can get hired by becoming great, but you got to be great. Got to be great. We can make you great if you desire. We love making people great, and we love getting people hired. I think we had 4 people get hired this week so far. Please ask us your questions so we can help you get cloud hired or cloud promoted. Kevin Ho, hi Mike. I want to make some topic about green computing and cloud computing, but I'm not sure a buzzword or something that matters. Kevin Ho, I hate using the term green, and here's the reason. I don't believe in it. Now, that doesn't mean I don't want more eco-friendly solutions. I do. But when it comes down to it, we always have to get back to the second law of thermodynamics. It's a critical physics law. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but merely transformed. I'm going to make this very clear. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but only transformed. So let's talk about green computing. Let's talk about electric cars. Instead of me getting diesel from the diesel station for my truck, right? Now I plug in my car in my house for electric. Okay, so now I use electric from the electric company. Now the electric from the electric company needs to be generated somewhere. How do we do that? We use diesel, coal, or nuclear power, none of which are environmentally friendly, but we got to generate the power somehow. So now I've got to take, the equivalent of the same diesel fuel to convert the electric on the electric wire to go charge my electric car. But it's not that efficient, and here's the reason. When you send your electric over a wire, you lose a good 50% of it. So potentially speaking, we now need twice as much energy to go from the power plant to our electric car. So we still need the same things because energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So that electric car is now let's talk about that electric car. That electric car now has batteries. Those batteries need to be disposed of because they contain toxic chemicals. So is that green electric car any more green? It's debatable. Now, what is the byproduct of combustion? Heat. What is the byproduct of using electric? Heat. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So now let's talk about green cloud computing. And I've got articles in DevOps Magazine and Information Week and everywhere talking about green cloud computing. The cloud providers love to say, we are green. And they like to say we're green because you no longer have to buy your 50,000 servers, which is right. But the cloud provider buys the same 50,000 servers that you don't have to. So either you buy them or the cloud provider buys the same technology. Now, if you don't buy 10,000 servers in New Jersey, But Amazon buys 10,000 servers in Ohio. The net server electric use is the same. Now, when we talk about green computing, what they're doing is they're comparing today's clouds to a 30-year-old data center where everything was servers. Everything was on its own server. This is before 20 years ago when VMware came in and hyper-converged the data center, and old data centers effectively became cloud. Virtualized systems, virtualized everything. So there's no such thing as green anything, green cloud computing. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transformed. So what does that mean? It means if you've got a data center that's mining cryptocurrency, that data center is generating heat. Do you know how you plan data center cooling, Kevin? You say, I got 10,000 watts being used, and they say you need 10,000 watts equivalent of cooling in terms of BTUs. There's a correlation between power and GPUs. So I wouldn't make a big deal out of green cloud computing. To me, it's a buzzword. It's a little bit of fluff. Now, there may be a point where we're truly green in the future, where we can generate our power with wind or something from the ocean, and potentially then we can put our servers in an underwater data center or underground in the Arctic, so we could actually leverage the cooling from the ice and the cold temperatures to cool our systems down. That would be green computing. But as a rule, it's just a buzzword. It's like your electric car. You feel good, right? I'm not buying diesel. Great, or gas. You feel so good about it. But we don't think of where that energy and electric comes from, and that we still need to use the same fuels that generate the electric that we're now using. So when it comes down to it, I had a physics teacher. Her name was Mrs. Armalay. I loved her. She had a sign hanging up on our wall, and she said, education is an ever-decreasing number of lies. And she said, I want you to all read this. And here's the explanation. And they said, look, on the surface, this all feels true, right? But when you dig under the hood, you realize it's fluff. So yes, we need green. Yes, we need more sustainable things. Yes, we need efficient things, but they need to matter. Now, if we had solar on our house that was then charging our electric car, awesome. Now, we still have the heat problem, but we really, really, really need to think about what goes on under the hood. And that's why, to me, it's a buzzword, 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 and nothing that's going to be highly impactful at all. Great question, Kevin. Excellent question, excellent question. So if you've got some questions, please ask them. Please, sir, when will your next semester begin? Today. And you want to get enrolled. So I want to make this very clear. We don't do semesters ever intentionally. I think that's actually the worst way to train people, and here's why we don't do them. I come from two worlds, medicine and martial arts. Now in medicine, we're really good, and martial arts is teaching people skills. So here's why we do what we do at Bali. I need to know that anybody that comes in my program can and or will be hired by the end of the program. I have to do this. I don't need to work. If I needed to work, we wouldn't charge what we charge for our program. We charge 50 times more, which is what it's worth, and easily fill it up. I just want to get the world hired. So if you come to me today and you need 8 months of my program to get hired versus 10 months of my program to get hired, the only thing that I care about or my team cares about is that you get hired. So we will keep you on the program up to a year until you're hired. Now, by doing it this way and not having a set start and stop, I know that you'll get hired as long as you do the work. So the way we do it is as follows. We have live classes 3 times per week. And if you were to sign up right now, and I've seen some people already have, the first thing that will actually occur is as following. You'll get an email welcoming you to Go Cloud Careers. In that email, you'll learn how to join the Slack channel for communications with us. You'll learn where the classes will be. You'll learn everything that you need to know, etc., to make you successful in the program. And what you'll do is you'll watch the first video, and you'll do the first homework assignment and turn it in, and that will be self-paced. There's hundreds of hours of lessons for you to go through and videos to watch, and that will be self-paced. Now, the next thing we're going to do is invite you to our live classes. So if you'd sign up today, you would begin the next live class, which is tomorrow. And in these live classes, they stand alone. Stand alone. Bear with me, guys, for 1 second. I just got an urgent text that I need to address very quickly. I may have to leave a few minutes early. My presence is requested to be on television, so I'm going to be here as long as I can, but then I have to jump on TV. Recruiters constantly ask me for experts' opinions, etc. So what'll happen is we'll invite you to the next class. And in this next class, what'll happen is there's going to be senior people, there's going to be intermediate people, and if you signed up today, you're going to be brand new. So what'll happen in the architecture class, the senior people are ultimately in the position where they're leading the course discussion, helping to design the architectures that I talk about. The junior level people, the medium people will be helping the senior people. And if you just got there today, you're going to watch, observe, and ask questions, which we love. Now, a month from now, those senior people are hired. You're now an intermediate person. You're helping the senior people, and some new people are there. And we'll do this until everybody gets hired, and you can stay there. And why is this so important to me? I had one of my students that needed to go to Cameroon for a month to take care of some things. And guess what? Well, he did it. He came back, and he's back in the program. I had a student that had to go to Ethiopia for 6 months, take care of a sick family member. We were thrilled to have her back. I've had students that had to go to India for a month to take care of their family, and they have. But all I care is that you graduate and get hired. So what we're going to do is going to be as follows. Independent work that you do on your own with projects that you turn in and you get feedback on, and then live classes. And then there'll be a lab component. And our labs are very special. Our labs do the following. You will not only do AWS labs and Azure labs, but you will build everything that makes the cloud possible. Starting with server virtualization and the containers, you'll be doing storage and extra stuff. You'll be building Active Directory servers. And of course, to make you competent, you will be building your own cloud. Building your own cloud. So keep that in the back of your mind. You will even build your own cloud. So the second you come in, you start the program. We don't waste any time. We can't waste time. Average cloud architect earns $600 a day. So every day we spent wasting, you're losing $600 a day. I don't like that. You sign up, you could start today. And then you'll be rolled into the next live class, which is going to be great, which is going to be tomorrow. And, it's going to be fun, fun, fun. You'll learn a lot. And if you do the work, guess what? In about 8-9 months from now, you should be thanking me and saying, Mike, I just got cloud hired. And it'll bring tears to my eyes like it does every single day. It'll be making Alonzo happy. It'll be making Chris behind the scenes happy. It's going to make the rest of my team happy. And we would love to get you cloud hired. And I live for getting people hired, and my team knows that. So we could start you as early as today. Guess let's bring in the next one. Here to win. Mike, can I talk about job descriptions? It almost feels like architect and engineer descriptions have the same requirements. Actually, let's talk about this. I view these job descriptions are the silliest thing in the entire world. And here's why the problem is with job descriptions. In most cases, the hiring manager doesn't write them. HR does. So here's what goes on with the job description. And I'm guilty of it myself. I don't write job descriptions, and no hiring manager does. We're too busy. So here to win, if I need to write a job description, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go to Indeed. I'm going to go to ZipRecruiter. I'm going to go to Dice. I'm going to all these places. And then when I'm done with that, here's what I'm going to do. And that's exactly what, so, kind of keep that. I'm going to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, say, Indeed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And once I get past that, I'm going to then say, none of this stuff is what I need, and I'm going to add mine. And then the next hiring manager is going to do the same thing. They're going to say, this is none of the stuff that I need, and add mine. And that's exactly what will happen. So by the time I'm done, the job description is going to have 50 people's jobs, be 30 pages long, and be totally unrelated. Now, here to what I'm going to tell you, I have never had more than 10% of the skills listed in a job description and never gotten hired, ever. And here to win, I know some exceptionally good recruiters. I've got a good relationship with IT Excel. And when they see these job descriptions, the first thing they do is call the hiring manager and say, what do you want? And the hiring manager says, what do you mean? And they say, do you want a DevOps engineer, a cloud engineer, a maintenance person, a database person, a software developer, and the hiring manager says, huh? I need a cloud architect. I need someone to design, present, and sell. And they say, well, yeah, I'm looking at this job description. They're like, I don't need that. I need this, this, and this. So, there's that. Job descriptions, in my mind, are a wish list of silly nonsense. And there's two things that goes on to this. First problem that we're talking about is as follows. Problem, and it appears to be this. So what goes on is, HR gets 5,000 applications for a single job. 5,000. HR has no ability to judge your technical competency. So they stick a lot of stuff in there, and they assume anybody that's done all these things and has 10 Olympic gold medals and 50 years experience might actually know something. The reality is that person knows zero about the job because they've been spread too thin, which is why we typically use recruiters. And the recruiter puts you directly in front of the hiring manager. But, it's not just me that was frustrated by the job descriptions. It was Gartner. It was all the architects I know. And I'm actually going to read to you an article from CIO Magazine because they found the same problem. They all looked at this and said, oh my God, what do you want? What do you want in a cloud architect? And they actually told them. And the reason this was so important was they looked at the job descriptions and went, what the heck is this? This is not what a cloud architect does. So, I actually used to get together with my buddies. I don't really drink a lot, but I occasionally drink. And I'd say like 3 or 4 times a year, I'll have a really good Macallan 25 Scotch, not cheap. I think it's like $500 a bottle, but the bottle lasts me like 10 years, so who cares? And I'll have a glass of Macallan. My buddy will have a glass of Macallan, and we would get on a Zoom meeting and we'd go over solution architect job descriptions as a joke because it was the best comedy routine I'd seen during COVID. So we'd look at them. It got so bad that Gartner, and if you want to know anything about tech, go ask Gartner. Most innovative cloud, ask Gartner. Best database, ask Gartner. Best software-defined networking organization, ask Gartner. So that's all they do is they go out and look for people. Now, Gartner asked who? The chief information officer. So who hires you? The chief information officer. Here's why. CEO sets the strategy for the business. Chief information officer helps the CEO execute their mission with tech. So the CIO is the hiring person, right? The hiring person. The CIO hires the VP of IT, the director of IT, hiring managers, etc. So if you want to know what the job is, the real job description, ask the CIO. So actually, Gartner decided to do this because we are cloud architects, design, present, and sell, and do nothing more than that, ever. And Gartner started asking chief information officers, and they said, what do you want? And they said, here's the 3 main responsibilities of a cloud architect. Someone to lead the cultural change for cloud adoption, develop and coordinate a cloud architecture. That means design it, and developing a cloud strategy and coordinating the adoption process. Well, selling it to the team. And then they said, what do you want them to do every day? And they said, help find talent with necessary skills, assess application software and hardware, create a cloud broker team, establish best practices for the cloud across the company, oversee governance and mitigate risk, working closely with the IT security people to monitor privacy and develop incident response procedures, manage budgets and estimate costs, and operate at scale. Hey, wait, all business things and some tech stuff. But none of it had anything to do with cloud engineering. And that's the customer saying, this is what I want. So here to win, we've got this problem. People are looking at these descriptions that aren't even written by the hiring manager saying, oh my God, I want to learn this. And then the hiring manager says, but I need this. I mean, seriously, think about it. It's putting out an ad that requests, imagine putting out an ad that requests a golden retriever when you really want a cat. And you want to buy your daughter a cat because your daughter loves cats. And your wife decided to put out an article that, and in the newspaper, an advertisement that says beautiful golden retriever desired. But your little daughter wants, a cat. So that's what happens with these job descriptions. Golden retriever comes in, golden retriever comes in, golden retriever comes in, golden retriever. And believe me, I love golden retrievers and yellow labs. I like anything with fur or feathers. But the key is the customer wants to hire a cat or an architect, not a golden retriever. So that's the key. I don't worry about what's in silly job descriptions. And here to win, when I see silly job descriptions, and I've never had more than 10 to 15% of the skills listed on a job description. And here to win, here's the thing. I've never interviewed for a company that didn't hire me. So why? You need to know your skills, You need to know exactly what the customer needs and show the customer that you're an expert on the most critical requirements to have, and let the rest of it just fall away. It doesn't matter. It's nonsense. You want a doctor to be able to diagnose and cure people. That's what you care about. Can't really care about. You need them to do their job. If the doctor was a nurse before they were a doctor, do you care? No. If the doctor is an expert skydiver, do you care? No. If the doctor is a karate expert, do you care? No. But if that doctor can help people get healthy and save lives, you care. So, yes, I agree with you. These things are a little crazy. But yeah, we see them all the time. Chris, we can get some more if we have any. Up and up. Mike, I heard about 3-tier architectures. What are the type? What are the differences? Can you explain the use case? Well, there's millions of kinds of architectures up and up. A 3-tier architecture is typically a web architecture. We've got web servers with which provide the presentation to the user, application servers which contain the business logic, and a database that actually stores the data. Now, there could also be microservice architectures too, and if you're one of our students, that would be the kind of thing that we would talk about in class. How to design these and the approaches and the use cases, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because that's what we teach in our program, how to architect. But the key is, what's right for the business? The business should spend money refactoring its application. Does the business want agility moving from cloud to cloud? Is the business looking for customization and performance? Because that's going to change anything. What's the business concerns on security? How many clouds will the businesses be using? Those are the things that go into the architectural design. So that's the kind of thing we discuss in our Cloud Architect Career Development Program. This is what we're here doing now is career questions. So Chris, if you want to get to the career questions. Chris, it looks like there's technical questions here. Let's keep it to business, meaning how to get hired, how to get promoted. And if we have time in the end, Chris, we can potentially do a technical question, but I want to keep it to business. So I will have to wrap up fairly soon, but I might be able to take 1 to 3 more questions. Ruslan, hi, my brother is 19 years old. Do you think it is too early for him to become a cloud architect? Well, I actually believe it's never too early to get trained for the career you desire. Now, will he get hired at 19 years old? I don't know. I'll give you an example. I trained this gentleman named Mitchell. Mitchell is incredibly successful. When I found him, he was 16 years old. I was doing yoga and some physical therapy in the gym. And I used to be a Olympic lifter and elite martial artist. So I was in a yoga room, doing some basic intro physical therapy rehab things. And this kid approached me. He was 16 years old. His name was Mitchell, and he said, Mike, I've heard you've coached so many people. I want you to train me. And I asked about a situation, and I had some time in my life. The kid had absolutely no background, no money, and truly needed help. And he wasn't going to be a paid client, but I thought, let me help him. So he was in high school at the time. While I was in high school, I taught him networking. At the basic level, he was CCNA certified in high school. He had also done his first CCNP exam. In those days, there were 4 exams. While he was in college, I taught him networking. He came to my house. We'd play with routers and switches, etc. He would be, really great getting his work. I'd make him, do yoga with me, my physical therapy week yoga, and tell me, what is the tech? How does the tech work? Why does an organization use it? While he was doing my physical therapy with me, he was explaining OSPF and BGP and how it worked and why it worked. Wow. Let me tell you this. By the time he graduated college, he had a job working at one of the 10 of the world's largest internet service providers. 6 months later, he was working at Cisco. And now he is a senior product manager by the age, designing security solutions for a major security player with an incredibly good job, the kind of job that would normally take him 10 to 15, 20 years to get on his own at best. And he's doing it at 25 years old because we started him young. So I never think it's too early to start pursuing your passion. I think it's always good to go figure out exactly what you want to do and have a laser-like focus, laser-like focus, laser-like focus, laser-like focus. And I love working with young people. I actually have a 12-year-old in my program because I saw him doing things in the cloud that were so amazing. His father was a personal friend. So I truly, truly, truly believe that start early and be great at what you do. Hakeem, do you think a company will look past X years of member experience for someone who has advanced level of cloud knowledge? Hakeem, you've asked me this question a few times. I want to keep answering it for you. I've gotten people like Delroy Batt who have not finished high school a job as a cloud architect, and his last job was selling shoes at Nordstrom. We've gotten Delroy Batt a cloud security architect job, and his last job was being an EMT on ambulances. We got Jennifer a job, and her last job was a mental health tech, and she got hired with no experience. We've got Romanik Ivan Tamba, hired by AWS, and he never worked in tech in his entire life. His last job was serving food at a restaurant. We had Coyote, a college student, who just got hired by AWS, and again, he had no tech experience. Jeffrey West was a geologist doing some kind of geospatial imaging. So the point is, of course we can get you hired. Companies look past experience every day of the week if you have competency, but they're not going to hire you based on certifications. I can promise you that. So that's just 5 examples, and I've given you these 5 examples and 5 other exampls in multiple videos. Of course you can. Everybody gets their first job somewhere. Everybody does. The reason I'm talking about these folks is it's nothing for me to get a 40-year-old with some life experience a cloud architect job if they develop the right knowledge. But they're examples of young people with no work or life experience whatsoever. Daniel Boso, and I love the guy. He's the kid I wish I always had. He is one of the smartest, most motivated, most capable, and decent people I'll ever describe. He didn't even complete high school, and he was hired by JP Morgan Chase as a cloud architect. Big company. And it wasn't just like a simple job like pre-sales. It was post-sales. So yes, of course you can. Now, here's the key. You have to have the right training, which we would love to train you, and you have to do the work. But of course you can. Of course you can. My first job, they wanted over 10 years experience, and I had none. I told the hiring manager that directly on the interview. And he hired me to be a senior engineer, not the network engineer I even applied for. It is near impossible to find capable. So yes, the answer is, of course we can get you hired, but you'd have to do the work, all the work we give you. Be great at your job. It's impossible to find someone great. And yes, we can help you. Hakeem, you'll be enrolling today, Cloud Hired. We're excited to work with you. I want you to get to your goal. You can achieve your dreams. I'm certain you can. Follow the right plan, which will help you build. Keep doing the work until you're hired. And when you tell me you're Cloud Hired, believe me, we'll all be celebrating and having a nice, fun, happy day. I got about 4 of them this week, and it's been a great week so far. Up and up. Will I bring more Cloud Hired stories and the Head in the Cloud show? You've been inspired by them? I'll bring some. I do like to bring them. I usually bring the odd ones and the hard ones out there. And here's the reason. I get students hired every single day. And, I don't generally make videos to show people that we do our job. But I do like to do it. Why did I have Daniel there? And Yvonne? Well, because none of them had any experience in tech whatsoever, and they were also young. They didn't have any life experience either. But you know what? I will definitely bring in some more people. I've got a few people that I think it would do, and I think it's a good idea. I'll happily bring in some more people. We'll just have to filter it in between, the business skills that we need to talk about, some of the guests that we have. But yes, absolutely. I think it's a great idea and up, and I'll bring in more people. Absolutely. Ruslan, thank you, Mike. You're the best. Thank you so much, Ruslan. I just really want to help people get to their goals and build the best tech careers. Now, I personally love the cloud architect career, but I love the cloud engineer career too, the solution architect career. Getting people to their goals, that's really the key. Cameron Glenn, if someone doesn't have any certifications, would your cloud architect be sufficient to get hired? Yes, Cameron. You will get certifications inside of our program, but I've had students with no certifications get hired as well, like Delroy Bett. But we will teach you what you need to know. Now, the certifications are nothing when you know the underlying technology. And they're challenging that when you do have them. So the key is, the certifications are easy. How easy are they? Well, I took the Google Professional Cloud Architect exam, which is the hardest exam of all the cloud certifications. Now, I wanted to see what it was like for someone that actually knew the certifications. So here's what I did. I bought the book from Cybex on passing the Google Professional Cloud Architect exam. It was a pretty good book. I bought it on a Friday. I didn't open it until Saturday morning. I read it on Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Sunday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Monday, I took the exam, and it was like the easiest exam I've ever seen. It was shut down in 40 minutes or 45 minutes. I'd answered all the questions, and it was like a near 100% pass. So why was that exam so easy for me? And why was I able to do that with 2 days' notice? See, I already knew the network and the data center, which meant I knew the cloud. And I knew the AWS cloud and Azure cloud. So the only cloud I didn't know was the Google cloud. And know the network, know the data center, know the cloud. So my students have an easy time doing the certifications. They're truly nothing. And we provide the training for both the Azure Solutions Architect Expert and the AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional in our program. But realize, of the 500 plus hours of training in our program, 30 or 40 hours is dedicated towards certification, and the rest of it's dedicated towards making you a great, employed, and highly paid cloud architect. And our graduates earn far more than other graduates because we focus so much on the leadership skills, the sales skills, executive communication skills, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Singer, will you be able to maintain a part-time job during the course? We've got a lot of people working full-time in the course that got hired. Mr. Businessman is there full-time. Delroy was working full-time. Yvonne went to school full-time and had an almost full-time job while he took my program when he got hired by AWS. So yeah, I got lots of full-time students, full-time employees, and they all do great as long as they do the work. Cameron, so much you're enrolled. I can't wait to see you in class. It's going to be fun and exciting. I love to meet new people, and I can't wait until you're caught hard. I can potentially do one more if somebody wants to pile a last question in there. But only one would be the maximum number I can do. So I'll give you guys a minute to do that, and then I'm going to wrap up. But I can definitely do one last question if you guys desire. So if I don't mind explaining a bit more how the course works, sure, I'm happy to do this. So 3 times per week, we will have live classes on Zoom. Love it. And that way we can talk to each other on Zoom. Typically speaking, in 2 of the 3 classes, I will lead the class. I will be the CEO of a business. And I will present a situation. And the students will have to interview me just like they would in a real situation. The students will then interview me and about the business requirements. And then as a group, we will collaboratively design the solution together. And then usually in the end of the class, I will make one of the architects or multiple sell me the solution that they just designed, because that's the actual job. So there's where we kind of teach our tech and do our hands-on architectural design. The next part of our program course is as follows. We have a tremendous amount of video content and homework assignments for you to do. The first assignment actually is going to be a video that you make on Tell Me About Yourself. And the reason we have to do this is an architect's job is to design, present, and sell. And the first thing you have to sell as an architect is yourself to the hiring manager. The first thing we do in the first lesson is a video. Tell me about yourself, because I can see your executive presence there. We can see your communication skills there. We can see how your presentation style, and we can tune it, right? But just that first project, which is one of many, is already prepping you for the first question to master, the interview. Now, one of the next ones in the beginning is going to be your plan. I want to be a cloud architect, a cloud security architect, etc. So we can help build the customized plan for you. Because your background might be different than somebody else's, and your goals might be different, so we want to do that with you. So the flow is going to be come to class, and then in between classes, watch a video, do a project, and turn it in for feedback via Slack. You'll be doing it constantly. You'll be working in group projects. You'll be doing all kinds of things to become an incredible cloud architect. And then we do have a hands-on tech module. Now, I had mixed feelings about developing this, and here's why we have it. Cloud architects don't touch the technology, ever. But somewhere along the line, someone's going to want to say, hey, have you ever done this before? So the students at Go Cloud Careers get a cloud architect job title working for Go Cloud Careers, which gives them experience on their resume. And while they're here, they do cloud architect work. Now, the first thing is they'll do, and this is not cloud architect work, but our students will do about 25 labs on Azure, about 25 labs on AWS. Cloud architect work, which my people will be able to put on their resume, is working with server virtualization for enterprise-wide computing, designing a container strategy for the business, designing an OpenStack cloud for the business, designing this for the business, designing this for the business. So my students then get a laundry list of technical things that are required, that are their expertise. Now, I said we do 25 Azure labs and 25 AWS labs, and I said we do them. Those labs, so you can say you did them. Now, what labs get you hired? Now, this is something special we do. Because the cloud architect moves the stuff from the network and the data center to the cloud, we have you actually get hands-on the data center. So you work with server virtualization, and you'll build and design your containers, etc. And after you do this, you'll set up file servers, and you'll set up web applications, and you'll build an Active Directory server, and then you'll build the cloud. That's right, you'll build the cloud. So when you go to the hiring manager and you've told them, I've designed and built my own cloud, and somebody else says, I set up an S3 bucket, they look like a little child and you look like an executive VP. So it's part of what we do. We will also teach you, not only the job, how to design your resume. We will teach you how to interview for the job. We'll even teach you how to negotiate a higher salary. So that's what goes into our program. Now, our cloud engineer program does the same thing for cloud engineers, but with cloud engineering skills. And our cloud architect one does one for cloud architect skills. We are very good at getting our students hired by making sure they are experts at their job. They've got the perfect brand and the perfect promotion. Singer, I see, wow, sounds really thought out and not just another course out there. I do plan to join very soon. Yeah, this is not a training course. This is a career development program. This is an easy $50,000 course. Executives call me from every single cloud provider and the big networking companies, and they say, Mike, why are you offering a $50,000 course for $800 with a discount? And I said, because I don't need to work. It's my retirement fund to get the world hired, so they can all have elite careers and change their lives and change their families' lives. And you know what? I'm proud to say we've done it. We got approximately 100 people hired last year. And realistically speaking, the average salary was between $120,000 and then $275,000 a year. We had a few outliers above and below, but there's that. So if you think about that amount of wealth that we've actually generated for $800, it's incredible. So that's why we do it. We can't wait to work with you. I look forward to seeing you in class. Let's get cloud hired. Okay, so let me end on these. We have a completely free How to Get Your First Cloud Architect Job webinar on Thursday. Please sign up for it. The link is in the description below. We have a resume workshop that's coming up. If you want help getting people to come to you, take our LinkedIn and resume workshop. We will be producing so many more videos and so many more blog articles and LinkedIn things coming your way. So please follow us on LinkedIn. And if you want to get your first cloud architect job or your first cloud engineer job, we have a cloud architect career development program for cloud architects and a cloud engineer career development program for cloud engineers. Sign up, get hired. Let us change your lives, like so many of our students say. And on the 11th of August, we're going to have a really fun Cloud Engineer webinar. Please sign up for it. Link is in the description below in the chat box. And I look forward to, and also on August 12th, we're going to do some free interview coaching. And you'll know by the end, are you ready for that cloud job of your dreams? If not, what you need to learn. So it's been so much fun seeing you all today. Hope it gave you some great guidance in getting the first cloud architect job or first solution architect job or first cloud engineer job. Can't wait to see you in another live stream, another video, and hope to see so many of you tomorrow on the How to Get Your First Cloud Job webinar. Take care, everyone.